This topic is going to be about how to create opportunities, particularly for players. Not really for yourself. Sorry, this is not going to be focused on you, future TO out there. It's going to be focused on the players. So essentially, the thing about it for me is that one of my favorite parts about doing this is providing opportunities for other people to come through, whether it be something as simple as like, you know, they get hired to do art if they can do art, or, you know, we dedicate an entire event to raising funds to get them to go somewhere. This video is going to go over kind of how to do that for people in your own community and kind of quick step-by-step guides on how to, and then going over a little bit on the why. But before that, so I'm Joe, aka Joe Kage. I've been TOing in this small town in Vero Beach for about 7 to 8 years at this point. I just so happen to go live on Twitch on Fridays, and I make posts on YouTube on like either Saturday or Sunday. We try to go make things once a week. So give the video a like if you want to like the video. I'd greatly appreciate it, and come check out the streams because we do this and then we do gaming stuff. So getting right into it, right? The part one on all of this has to be just why in general, right? So I mean, why are we doing this? Isn't it just enough to provide the opportunity for people to come through and hang out? Is that enough? It can be. There's nothing wrong with just keeping it like that. I mean, you are, as a tournament organizer, already taking a huge step in providing this place for people just like yourself. So, but for me, I don't know. I want to keep on doing more, and that's where I really get my fun out of all of this, because gaming was one thing, but seeing people go out and actually being like the best they can be is a completely different thing for me. So, you know, I want the best for my community as a TO. And we kind of went over it a little bit. Additionally, right, another big thing is that sometimes, you know, the community has a lot of younger players. Younger players, these players might not have confidence. You know, they might just be inexperienced. And sometimes they're like a little nervous or scared to go out and do things, right? So, you know, as a TO and seeing younger players show up, I kind of take this stand, and I like to help alleviate things like people being nervous, people being a little bit scared to go out and meet others. But when it comes to like the larger scale things, like running or presenting opportunities for them, maybe they've never gone to a major, but they really want to, and they haven't been to one ever. Or maybe they need to go test their talents at another local, and it might be like 2 or 3 hours away. You know, I like to provide those people those opportunities. And, you know, last thing about just the why, and it's sometimes players have bigger dreams. Yeah, maybe they want to be pro. Maybe they want to be pro. Maybe, or maybe they also want to TO. They also want to TO. So they might have, like, you know, the same goals that you have, or they might have bigger goals in general. So you know, giving them the opportunity to do that is kind of what drives me as a TO at this point. And yeah, it's kind of like stepped away from like the gaming stuff in general, or not really, because it all connects. But you know, I want to see, like, I'm older now, I'm like 24 now. So I want to see what the people in my position when I came in, I want to see how far they can push it. I got pretty far. I specifically played Melee competitively. I never really went to tournaments, but on the last tournament, I got out of pools for CEO. And for me, that feels great for me. And I've been playing for like 7 years. I just never went out and went to majors, went to other kind of tournaments in the local areas. I didn't do it as much as I should, and so it kind of all ties into why I wanted to do it, provide it for others. So going into part two is all about, well, how you can do it. And there's a lot of ways to go about doing it, but first you have to figure out, like, what kind of opportunities. There we go. What kind of opportunities can you provide, right? So you can provide opportunities for roles of responsibility. I spam this all the time. You can provide opportunities for other things like, or I guess roles of responsibility, things fall under that, like forming PRs at the end of months, end of quarters, power rankings for those who might not know, like the top players in a region, organizing stuff like that. You might present opportunities like traveling that players might not do, or I guess more specifically, traveling to larger, major events. And so you have a couple of things. I'm sure if anybody's out there, you can creatively think of other kind of lanes of opportunities you can provide for other people. But these three right here are just really good to start off with. So, when it comes to like roles of responsibility for stuff like that, you might have people run brackets. They could help with that. Perhaps they can help with other things like commentating. They can run the stream setup, and of course, like, try to compensate them for this. We're not talking about forced volunteership, what I try to do, because we don't make the most money ever. So if they want to jump in and help and run stream, I'll waive the bracket fee that they pay to get in. I'll try to do stuff like for that venue fee if we can, just trying to make sure we don't go as far into a hole as possible. So I try to do things like that. Of course, we want to like provide, and that's all assumed here. And we're actually going to make a point about how this all like carries together at the end. So I didn't want to break away from it too far. But yeah, for the people who are watching, they're like, he's enslaving those kids. I'm not. We're trying our best. But, it's still things, and specifically for like roles of responsibility. Imagine the kids that are coming through and they are like 15 or 16. They've been playing games since they were able to pick up a controller. They might just not have a lot of experience with certain things like that. And so, like, although this opportunity, if you want to look at it in like a business sense, it would be not cool you have somebody do something for you without being compensated. We do compensate them, but at the same time, just take a step back from that for this video, so I can talk about this kind of outside of that context. So, run brackets, commentating, run stream setup. If you have not a consignment store, if you have a concession stand, then you could have them handle transactions or stuff like that. Have them handle money. Now, you probably be a little bit more careful with that if you're actually making money, but yeah, you could have them handle money, stuff like that. Additionally, if you have online structures like Discord, you can make them be Discord mods. Just see how they do. It's not like life or death out here. You're not handing them like a sheriff badge and a gun and a taser, and you're like, well, just choose whatever one you feels is right. No, Discord moderation is going to be just fine. They're not going to torch the server, and even if they do, you'll just rebuild and obviously not trust them. But sometimes kids like to troll, but you let them run around and they'll be all right at the end of the day. So outside of like roles of responsibilities, oh, Damon with the terrible news. Oh, I can't stand it, bro. No, I just like feeling. Don't worry about it, Damon. Don't worry about it. I'm gonna still play because I love that game and it gives me something to do for a couple hours. But the next time we play, it's gonna be legendary. All right, where was I? Okay. Well, traveling. You can organize carpools. This is probably the easiest one. This obviously only works if A, you have the time to organize carpools and go to tournaments. B, have a car to organize carpools and go to tournaments. Or like C, I already say time, have the car. I don't know what C would be, but if you can come up with a C, then perfect. But yeah, organize carpools. As long as it's within reason. I mean, you could always ask for some gas money to help out with it. But imagine a lot of these kids might not be able to drive, or if they do drive, they might just not want to do it alone. So organizing carpools is going to be good for that. Or, either you could do it or you can help other people organize carpools or incentivize it. But if you can get that going, then that's great, because obviously, like, there's going to be a time when you hit 30 years old and you're probably not carpooling 15-year-olds around anymore. So if you can get that going as like a thing that your community does, then that would be great. Now, funny enough, I kind of like, I hate carpools. I hate carpools. I hate carpooling, me personally, because I want to get there and leave whenever I want to, essentially. So it's funny, but you know, a lot of kids are definitely down to organize carpools. I know that we have like the White Claw Gaming carpool that goes down to Miami like once a month, and it's like Fish, AJ, Auxiliary or something. I don't think Ox goes that much anymore, if I'm not mistaken. I just don't know, but organizing carpools can help players go out. And you know, a lot of the players, they don't have a lot of money. You know, if they could split, give you a little bit for the gas money, if you care, then you can. But if they have just enough to enter, then, you know, just take them out, see how they do. And if they don't want to go, then they don't want to go. But the last thing that I like doing is hosting fundraisers. Now, this is for the players that want to go to larger tournaments out there, like majors. And, you know, majors can, what did I spend at CEO? So I went, CEO is where we is in our state, so we didn't have to spend much on flying out there and stuff like that. But I think I spent somewhere around 400, it's probably more, 400 maybe more dollars to go to a fundraiser, or my bad, to go to a major tournament. So imagine like 17-year-old kid trying to scrap together those funds, but they're really good and you know that they have a shot to do well. And so you want to give them that experience. Hosting fundraisers works like a charm. So one of the recent fundraisers we hosted, we actually we ended up raising a little under $300, I want to say. It was actually more, but we paid back the people that made the burgers what they spent on the supplies. So there was all that. There we go. So we ended up raising that in a really small town. The tournament had like 40 people in it, and that was our big monthly tournament. So imagine you're in a city like maybe Denver or something, and you organize something like that. You get the people involved. Hey, we're gonna sell this. Or hey, we're gonna have raffles. We have stuff like that, and you get people and other people involved, or people's parents involved. I don't know, maybe to like a school or something, or if they go to that school. But imagine the amount of money you can raise. Just imagine if our little tournament can get 300, then like anywhere the population over 50,000, you guys could really make a killing and provide that for a lot of people. We ended up splitting the 300 into money for 2 people so they can go, and they ended up doing, or one of them did well. My bad, Austin. One of them did really well, but yeah, I mean, those are some ways to go about doing it. Now, if you made it to this part, because this is going to be a YouTube video in the future, if you made it to this part of the video, I want to just thank you really quick for making it here. You should leave a like and tell me other topics to talk about. I have like 20 or so in the bank that I want to get to, but I could always use a couple more suggestions. So leave a comment if you want to see me talk about something else, or if you have a particular question about what I'm going over, I'd like to go it over with you. But yeah, thank you for watching to this point. The last part is kind of about synergy and the long term of these things. And what do I mean by synergy and long term? Well, I kind of alluded to it a little bit earlier with that whole, like, you should probably compensate people a little bit for, you know, helping you out. But if you want to take a step back out of that context, giving and creating all works out in the end. You know, the people who step up to those roles of responsibilities can help you in the future, and, you know, actually receive compensation if you get them on board your team, if you make it legit, or they can end up replacing you in the future. And that sounds scary. I don't mean to put it off in this way where it's like you're being dethroned, but I mentioned earlier that one day you're going to hit like 30 years old, or maybe you are 30 at this point. And so you probably need somebody else to be the face of the community while you kind of organize things behind the scenes. Just stepping away. So this replacing is a good thing. We should be happy that we end up getting replaced. I'm working on people to replace me right now. Like Fish has done a great job running the Guilty Gear tournaments. Austin from time to time will just take over and run Ultimate for me. So I sit back behind my computer and I type away things and I think, and I can think about other things to like kind of grow everything. So being replaced is not a bad thing. Do not be scared of being replaced. You should probably go out of your way to do it. So additionally, you know, these players you help, they're going to remember you. You know, maybe they move on. Maybe they fly out to a bigger city and go to a, you know, now they're in a scene that is just a little bit more competitive, just so they can get a competitive edge. Or maybe they go to college somewhere else and that, you know, they have a town that also happens to have a pretty good scene for whatever game they play. But, you know, they're going to spread the word for you about you. You're going to say, you know, how much that you've done for them. And, you know, in the best case scenario, they start doing that for others as well. And now you've started something that's good, and that idea gets spread somewhere else. So a little bit of a story about that, although it's not like as happy as this like fairy tale scenario. We got this guy I work with. His name is Ben. Ben and we go, well, you know, I organize these things on Thursdays. We come together with a group of people. We play Magic the Gathering. Ben blatantly cheats all the time. He doesn't care. We don't care that he cheats. And he looks at the top deck of his library, like just to see what his next play is. Commander takes a long time. So we call it Ben scrying. Another player actually went up to Atlanta, Georgia. I think he just moved up there, and so like now the scene up there has Ben scrying as an official term. Like we have a mug, or he has a mug with his face on it, and it says, "In response, I'll Ben scry," and it's like this really funny thing, and it ended up being spread over to Georgia. Funny enough, like it was not something we expected, but just imagine that. But like instead of it being a meme about how some guy cheats, it's somebody providing for someone else. And that's the big draw from all of that. So synergy and long-term stuff, creating opportunities for others. That's all I have for this topic today. So I want to thank everybody that made it to the end, even the people in the Twitch chat. If you guys are no longer asleep, you know, thank you for staying through the whole thing, and I'll see you guys at the next video.